Welcome to the Mind Vine podcast, where we challenge the stigma associated with mental illness through conversations about a variety of issues impacting mental health. Here we bring you news, views, and interviews that intrigue, educate, and celebrate recovery. Leading us on this journey are the hosts of the Mind Vine podcast, Darryl Mathers and Chris Bovie.
Well, we are here. We have the Mind Vine podcast. We're in Ottawa, which is unusual for us to be this far from our home base in Whitby. My name is Darryl Mathers. I'm with my co-host Chris Bovie, and we have a special guest, Traci Melchor, a broadcaster, probably familiar to a lot of people, not only in our area, but across the country. And welcome, first of all.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here, and I do love your setup, and your lighting's perfect. So thank you.
The lighting's been a struggle since we got here. So,
well, let me tell you, you've got it all worked out.
Well, part of the reason the biggest reason you're here is you're being honored today.
Can you believe it?
Yeah,
I know.
Congratulations. And we'll talk a bit about that particular award, but tell us about your connection to mental health and a little bit about your journey.
You know, me talking about this, going back, I'd probably say I was dealing with mental health challenges and depression probably from the time I was 9 years old, and I just didn't know it. I just kind of thought that there was this kind of like omnipresent dark cloud over everybody's life and activities, and I just kind of, we talked about moving fast, and I feel like I had a lot of make busy projects, whether it was my career or extracurricular activities. And a few years ago, my best friend, Christopher Hindman, he had a show with his longtime love of 27 years, Stephen Sabatos, the Stephen and Chris show, and he passed away very publicly and very suddenly. And I think that was the catalyst that started that the dam cracked. Let's say the dam cracked. It didn't break at that point, but a big crack happened when he passed away. And I was doing two shows. I was doing eTalk and I was doing The Social, and people were like, "Oh, this is great. Everything you've ever dreamt of, and this is a beautiful thing. And you've got these two shows and two kids." And I was drowning. I was really suffering. I was getting everything done for everybody else. Meeting deadlines and getting everything done for my kids and for work and for everybody else, but not taking care of myself. And we were working on a Bell Let's Talk program with Prime Minister Trudeau, and he had been at The Social a few times. He had been for when he was running, and he had been prior to that for his book, Common Ground. And I'd also spoken to his mother, Margaret Trudeau, about her book. And there was really a lot of things that resonated with those two books for me. And he explored his mother's mental health challenges a lot in his book, and she explored hers and talked about what she did to overcome it, and not overcome it. I mean, it's a journey. It's a process, and I always say it's a forever thing, that I'm going to be on this. And I'm grateful that I know what's going on with me, and that I feel like I have a good support team and a support system. So Prime Minister Trudeau came on the show, and I had asked him about a chapter in his book when he talked about his mother. He was 11 years old, and at that time my kids were 11, and she had broken up with Pierre Trudeau, and she was dating somebody, and that person had broken up with her. So she arrived as an 11-year-old little boy at his gym class and burst in crying, and brokenhearted because her boyfriend had broke up with her in front of all of his peers. And even though I had read that book, and I realized I know the story, and I came up with the questions to talk to him about it, in that moment, it was just like, I felt anxious, and I felt scared, and I felt, oh my gosh, because if I kind of all put it together. Maybe this is why I was resonating with all these mental health stories and these people with the challenges, because I was going through something, and then I was, seeing RNCMP, I'm sitting beside the Prime Minister, I'm on national TV, I'm like, you can't do it now. Right. You can't do it now, but of course, my friend said, of course you would do it then. Have this internal breakdown. I mean, I'm laughing because hindsight's 20/20, right? And I think out of that situation, my VP came to me and said, what's going on? We you need some time off. And I think for the first couple months of my time off, I was going to therapy, and I was going to hot yoga, and I was journaling, and I was doing the things that I was supposed to be doing,
Right.
but I didn't really I didn't really go inside and do the inner work. I was doing it by route almost, just kind of like, oh, I'm supposed to do this, so check that off. And I think probably about the third month in, I just kind of like had to go in deep inside and think about my childhood and think about my mom and think about things I'd seen and think, like just really doing that deep forensic dive that nobody really wants to do if you have those kind of issues and demons in your past. So coming out the other side of it, every day I have an inversion table. I go upside down and I meditate, and I'm a big proponent of therapy, and my kids see a therapist. And but out of all of that, the thing that really struck me is that it seems like so many people have their stuff. Mm-hmm. People will stop me, and they'll say to me, hey, when you said that, like, my uncle, or, when you talked about your kids, and you asked me, because I ask my kids' permission anytime I do anything like this, because my therapist said to me, if I don't do that with my kids, they're going to think that they're responsible, and it's their fault that mom's feeling bad or mom's feeling blue.
Right.
So, me getting this award is amazing, but me feeling more so connected to the planet and to people.
Right.
I not to sound cheesy, that's the real award.
Do you find, interesting thing that you had mentioned when people come up to you, and even your situation is, people are kind of looking for that opportunity to unpack those things and someone to allow them to do that. And so a lot of people are dealing with stuff, but they don't feel they have the right to deal with it until an opportunity. And for you, it was that moment on the show where it all resonated with you.
It really was. And I feel like I didn't identify it. I just thought this is just the way I felt. I knew that I was looking for ways to deal with my days, and sometimes not always the most productive or healthy ways, like to get to the next day and the next day. And I think, I can't speak for everybody, but I know when I was in my dark days, it was just getting to that next day. I had to really compartmentalize, and not really feel the joy in things, just surviving.
And that's something that comes up too, is people often think with mental health in the workforce that people are not achieving or not doing stuff, but actually a lot of people work a lot harder. Like, so you probably got lost in the work when you were dealing with Chris's death. That you probably to avoid that did more, right? I got lost
in the work. I got lost in taking care of Stephen. He was my good friend and the love of his life. Right. And I got lost in the, you should be grateful. Oh my God, you got 2 national shows, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not making fun, because I am very grateful for those opportunities and for being able to do that. But I got to take care of myself, and everybody has to take care of themselves first. It's like that airplane thing. You got to put on your oxygen mask first before you help your baby, right? And, I say to my kids, when they come home and tell me something, I'm like, is it true? Is it kind? Is it true? Then, you can proceed. But is it kind? If it's not yes to both things, not in my house. Right. And learn that from Stephen and Chris, because you weren't allowed to talk and you're still not in Stephen's place, any smack. And they were really into kindness and nice. Being mindful and being present. Nice. And all those lessons I feel like Chris was trying to teach me, now I'm following them. Right. Yeah, I didn't get it in the moment.
Gotcha.
I know you're pressed for time, and just one last thing before. Sure.
I'm just trying to do everything.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally. Busy.
I was trying to but I can always come back, because I'm in Pickering. Yes. No, seriously. I don't have to come to Ottawa to do this. No? Yeah, we do it in depth. Yeah.
So just one last thing before we let you go is, you're here. You're going to be honored with a bunch of fine people here this evening, and you talked about where you were not that many years ago.
Yes.
At what point did you think, like, not only can I talk about this publicly, like I can stand in front of a bunch of people and share, like, bare your soul and be so honest about where you've been and where you've come?
Being on the social, we really had to talk about a lot about our stuff. and whether it was my ex-husband or my kids. I mean, my kids put a stop to it season 2. They were like, all right, enough about that. So when I came back from my sick leave, actually I had cancer. I mean, I had a few years, I had cancer, and then Chris passed, and I shared that with everybody. I shared that. So when I went off again and I just disappeared, and social media is a beast, right? They're like, what's going on? Hope you're well. I know something must be up. You do love your being on TV, so you wouldn't miss your airtime kind of thing. I didn't feel like, I don't know, I guess because I was so so used to sharing stuff that when I came to share this, and because we're Bell Let's Talk, if I couldn't talk on a Bell Network, where could I talk? So I felt safe. I felt a support system, and beyond all that, beyond corporate BS or beyond work, I felt a connection to the people who were reaching out to me all the time to say what's up, and I'm like, I need to tell them what's going on. And it was like a relationship that I built with people that have watched me through the years, and I felt like it takes two to tango. They're given to me. I got to give to them. I can't just take. And so it wasn't like a bravery or a courage thing. It was just like, if I want to keep a relationship, then you got to feed that relationship, and that's why I did it. And I couldn't imagine all this time I'm doing entertainment reporting and I'm getting an award for this, which is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Deserved. And just in closing, it's important for everybody to tell their stories, their mental health stories, and to talk about where they've come from. I think there's some inherent or maybe an added value when people in the public eye do it, because you see yourself, or we see you on social media and we see you on TV, and maybe things look like too perfect sometimes, right? And when you allow yourself to be real, I think you really maybe change the conversation just by the way you carry yourself and what you're willing to share, and showing that we all have imperfections, and then we all deal with things, and sometimes we don't deal with things well, and sometimes we need help, and I think it's really important when people in the public eye kind of tell that story. So
thank
we
you.
appreciate it.
Oh no,
no,
I love being here, and thank you for saying that. I guess I just feel like I just want to keep talking about it now ad nauseum.
Well, we'll have
like
you
know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, seriously, ad nauseum, because I just didn't realize so many people were going through things. And again, selfishly, I feel connected, like that I never did before. So
well,
that's a nice place.
A difference, and again, thank you.
Thank you.
Being on our podcast.
Thank you. Durham Region in the house. Thank you.
Together begins and ends with hope. Begins and ends.